If you're like me, and I'm like most people, I had at least $17,000 of debt that I needed to wipe out and wipe out fast. This is what we teach on this channel. My name is Jen. I'm going to show you how to get out of your debts faster. I'm a former banker, former business banker, and former branch manager, and I can tell you, banks don't teach this, but I'm going to teach you the best, the fastest, the most incredible way to get debt-free, and it is simple, because simple is what we all need in a complex world and in our complex lives. You don't need a system. Systems, they're operations, okay? They're for big businesses. You as a homeowner running a household, all you need to be is a small business owner for your personal finances. And small business owners, what do they need? They need a good strategy. So what's a strategy? It's a plan and a process. So today, we are going to teach you a simple plan and simple process to get you out of debt so much faster than you would if you stay stuck in the traditional banking system. Again, how do I know? Former banker here, former branch manager, and I can tell you, banks don't teach this because if they did, they would lose a lot of interest. So let's get into it today and teach you how to get out of debt much faster and become debt-free. So our 3 steps, our blueprint, right? The Paydown Blueprint. This is exactly what Dan and I did to get out of our business debts. We are business owners, okay? So we know a thing or two about business. We know a thing or two about running a household. We have both. So we got ourselves out using the exact 3-step strategy we're teaching you today. Number 1, you're going to organize all of your debts. You're going to organize them into a simple, easy spreadsheet that you organize all of your income in and all of your debts. And they break those debts into chargeable and non-chargeable expenses. That is free for you, and it is below this video. Go get yours today. 1, organize. Just talked about that. 2, identify. You are going to identify your debt tool, your debt weapon, your debt destroyer, as we like to call it. And that will be a line of credit. It is not your checking account, not anymore. It is going to be a line of credit. And number 3, you are going to learn how to implement. Organize all your expenses, identify that debt tool, that debt weapon, that debt destroyer, and then 3, implement. And what is that? That is to work down your debts. We work them down on this channel, and we work them down fast. So you are going to not only do the 1, 2, 3s, right? But you're going to do the ABCs. And the ABCs are stop using your checking account. And I know that blows your mind, but I'm going to teach you how to do that. Number 2, or B, I should say, B, start using your credit card. You're going to use your credit card to work down all of your debts. That will become your new checking account, your credit card. Or 3, income in and expenses out. Income into that card, and you're going to run every expense. Everything you have to pay is going to go right out of that card unless you cannot. There's a couple things we have to hold out of our checking, have to hold back into our checking account because they can't be run through a credit card. And that would be other credit cards. You can't make a credit card payment to pay a credit card. Can't do that. Can't pay your rent or your mortgage with a credit card, and you certainly can't pay most loans. So how in the world is this useful? Well, we're going to show you right here today. So we have students of ours. These are real students of ours, and they are Ryan and Jessica. And we're going to go over their exact finances, okay? What they have and how they got out of debt. This is no different than what Dan and I did to get out of our business debts. No different. All right. So they have an income of $4,330. Their total expenses are $41.25. That leaves them with cash flow of $205. So they have some cash flow. Now, they have a mortgage and they have a car payment. Their mortgage was for $1,326. Their car payment is $619. So when you add those together, they're going to equal $1,945. These, again, are what we call non-chargeable expenses, okay? You cannot charge them, so quite clearly, they're non-chargeable. That is the only thing you will be using your checking for or your checking account for are those non-chargeable expenses, such as these. Now, and technically, this is a non-chargeable. However, we are going to be using that credit card in a different way. Therefore, that payment then comes back to us. So let me explain. When you use your checking account for your debt destroyer, your debt weapon, here's what happens. you're going to put your income, that $4,330 of income, would be going into their checking account. That's how they normally do things. And that's how you normally do things, because that is what we are taught. We are taught to get our paycheck or our direct deposit. It goes right into the checking account and it sits and it sits and it sits until we have to pay our bills. So it doesn't go to work for us immediately. But that is the problem right there, is the fact that your money isn't going to work for you. So instead, when we use Velocity Banking, when we use the Paydown Blueprint, we, instead of putting money here, we are going to put our income here, right onto the credit card. But we cannot put all of our income onto that credit card, can we? We have to hold out what is non-chargeable into our checking account. And those non-chargeables then get paid out of the checking account to your mortgage, to your mortgage or to your car payment. That's where they go. Or if they had multiple credit cards, they would go to the payments on those credit cards, okay? That's how we're going to handle this. Now, when we use Velocity Banking, when we use our Paydown Blueprint and we run our finances, we first organize everything. We then decide where everything is going to go, okay? That's the second thing we're going to do. We break it down into chargeables and non-chargeables if we're using credit cards. And that today is our example, credit cards. You can use other lines of credit. That's a little bit different. And I've talked about those in other videos, and we've gone into that. And you guys can watch other videos to see how you use a personal line of credit or a home equity line of credit, which are fantastic tools for this as well. So now we are going to then have our income here. We're going to bypass the checking. We're only going to hold back the $1,945. The rest of our income then goes on our credit card. So what does that end up being? Well, in their case, it's going to be $2,385. That is what is going to be the income that we put onto that credit card, knowing we have to hold back our non-chargeable expenses. All right, one thing I want to talk to you about real quick before we move on is how much this payment, this $346 payment, how much that payment is going to cost them. Well, when you make your payments to your credit card, and in this case, they're paying the minimum payment. If they do that, in this particular payment here, the $346, 317 of it is going to interest. $317 of $346. So that means what's working down the principal, the balance? $29 of that payment. That's it. That's all that is going to the principal on that card. That is one of the biggest reasons why we choose to run our finances this way and put all of our income into the credit card, okay? That's a big deal. And here's why it's a big deal. You know that the credit cards are calculated on an average daily balance. And if you didn't, you do so now. So when you put a bigger payment onto that credit card, what happens is your interest that you owe for that month drops, doesn't it? So, I mean, that makes sense, right? If I owe $17,000, the interest I pay on $17,000 is much more than I'm going to pay on $7,000. And so when you put your income into that credit card, you're dropping the balance immediately, and the average daily balance then averages out and it drops as well, okay? The average daily balance is going to be lower because you're putting your income onto that credit card. Here, we have to figure out what our available income and our chargeable expenses are though, right? Because we have to figure out what we can put on this credit card, because we know that when we put $2,300 onto that $17,000 versus the $346, we are going to lower that balance quickly. Our available income that we are going to be able to use of the income of Jessica and Ryan's income, what are they going to be able to use? Well, I spoiled it for you and I already told you that we're going to put $235 on the card. But where do those numbers come from? They come from this. We have our available income of $4,330. We have to subtract off our $1,945 for the mortgage and car payment. I am not going to subtract off the other non-chargeable, which is the payment of this credit card. I'm not going to do that because that payment is returned to me as income when I put all of my income onto the credit card. When I put all of my income onto that credit card, I have satisfied the payment that I am supposed to make on this card. So therefore, I don't really owe the $346. I just owe the interest. And that interest that I owe is going to be lower because I just slapped on $200 or $2,385. See how this works? So let's calculate that. Available income, $4,330 minus the $1,945 equals the $2,385. Now, what are our chargeable expenses? Chargeable expenses. We know that the whole world lives on credit cards, right? The whole world lives on credit. So everything out there just about is chargeable. The only thing that is not are other lines of credit, like credit cards or our loans. Those are the only things really that are non-chargeable. Everything else you can charge. Now, some companies will play nasty with you and they will want you to debit out of your checking account instead of using a credit card, and they might charge you more. But if you do the math on it, a lot of times still running it through Velocity Banking and going ahead and taking that extra, that they will charge you will end up working in your favor just because you're putting all of your income onto that credit card. You kind of have to do the math on that, but most of the time it'll actually work for you instead of against you. All right. So chargeable expenses in this case, we know that their total expenses is $41.25. So our chargeable expenses are the total expenses minus the non-chargeables. Okay, those are our chargeable expenses. So our total expenses are $41.25 minus our non-chargeables here of the $19.45 minus this credit card amount, right? Because it's still a non-chargeable. So I do have to add it in when I'm talking about my chargeable expenses, okay? We know it's a non-chargeable, so it has to be added as a non-chargeable. So that means essentially my chargeable expenses are $1,834. Those are the chargeable expenses. So now I'm going to show you the special math that makes all of this work. Here is our credit card. Here is Jessica and Ryan coming in and they're paying $2,385, their available income, onto this credit card. It drops their balance immediately to $14,895. Now, $14,895 is a lot less than $17,280. So their average daily balance then now is working for them. Okay, that average daily balance is working for them because they just put a big chunk of income onto that credit card, which is going to lower every month their interest if they do this over and over and over again. So $17,280 income comes in, drops then to $14,895, but their expenses, the chargeable expenses, are going to come back onto that card. Now, they're not going to hit the card all at once. They're going to come back slowly throughout the month. So it's an average, again, average daily balance. So we know that this is going to slowly creep up to the total of $1,834. And then you're going to figure out what your interest is, okay? Your interest is going to be charged or calculated by taking your high balance plus the low balance after the income comes in. You're going to add them together, then you divide by 2. That gives you the average. You're going to then take that number, all right? You're going to take the number, the average of the 2, and you're going to multiply it by your interest rate, which is 22%, or you're going to multiply it by 0.22. That's going to give you a year's worth of interest. We don't want a year's worth of interest. So you take that year's worth and you divide it by 12, which gives you your 1 month worth of interest, which is your $294. That's your 1 month of interest. All right. Now, if you take a look over here, what's 1 month of interest? For them, $317 if they're doing it in the traditional banking way, right? The traditional banking structure. So we know that $29 would have gone to then would have gone to their principal, right? That's what would go to the principal. That is not the case here. So as you can see, we're at $294, significantly less than our $317 that we're paying in interest because, again, of the average daily balance. Now, we end month 1 at $17,203. I made a mistake here. This is not 17,000, it's 17,023. What do we do now? You start your next month, 17,023. Your income comes in, drops you to 14,638. You then add back in your expenses, right? Those chargeable expenses. And then you're going to get your interest rate, and the second month is now $290. So that drops you to $16,762. You do your checks. $16,762. Is it greater or less than what you started out with, $1,723? Well, it's less than. So you know that this is working quite well for you. How is it though? When you take a look at this, you're going to say, well, Jen, clearly, if you're putting in your cash flow, then it's going to drop your balance. So why don't I just add my cash flow to my payment? Well, you could do that, okay? So you could add that to your payment. But here's the question. If you do that every month, $550, is that greater or less than $2,300? What's going to drop your balance more? The $2,300 is. That's why we do this method versus just making extra payments. And you're going to see that in just a second here. So what are our results? Well, here's what they come out to be. In total time, 3.3 years. What does it take in total time over here? 11 years, 5 months. What do we spend in interest over here? $7,089. What do we spend in interest over here? $12,635. We've clearly won doing this strategy. 3.3 years, interest of $7,089 versus $12,635. So we've saved $5,546. Now, have I done this? Have we started fast? Have we finished fast? And do we owe less debt? We do. We have less that we owe in interest, and we now have less debt in a shorter, faster period of time. Extra to the card, what does that do for you? Can you do it? Absolutely, you can do it. Is it going to help you? Absolutely, it's going to help you. You can do that. But here's what happens. It takes 4 years, and you're going to owe $8,668 in interest. Is it less? Yes, it's less. Is it as little as the $789? It is not. Again, you guys, we know that all good intentions, do they always come to fruition? The answer to that is no. And I can tell you that as a banker and as a branch manager, I would see these people have all these plans. They would tell us their financial plans. And guess what would happen? They would never put that extra where it needed to go because something happened. With Velocity Banking, and when you put your income in, it's done for you. It's already said and done. If you have an expense that needs to be taken care of, if you have something that you have to pay, rather than leaving the $205 sitting in your checking account idle, doing nothing, not going to work for you, you take that money, you put it to work for you. I think that this is the easier way to go, and obviously it is the faster way to go and the cheaper way. Keep watching our channel. We're going to show you tips and tricks to get you out of your debts faster, and all of them will be around our 3-step strategy, the Paydown Blueprint. Don't forget your cheat sheets. Get your chargeable and non-chargeable expenses by using that worksheet to figure out what you have going on with your expenses and know 100% what your chargeables and non-chargeables are and know what your cash flow is. Without knowing your exact numbers, you are dead in the water, so you must know them. That is the key to any financial plan, no matter if it's a money system or a simple 3-step strategy. Have a great day, you guys, and I will see you in the next video.